This is the Kids Morning News Network.
Hey everybody, it's Alex at the Kids Morning News Network. This morning I am very excited to be speaking with Sharon Hagle. She is the founder and CEO of SpaceKids Global, which inspires kids to excel in STEAM plus education. And that's science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, plus environment. SpaceKids Global also introduces kids to the space industry, and she has herself flown to space. Sharon, welcome to the Kids Morning News Network.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to talk to the kids that watch your show.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about SpaceKids Global. What do you do, and what kind of programs do you offer for kids?
Well, I started SpaceKids Global almost 10 years ago, but my passion is doing just this, talking to kids across the country and getting them excited about living off planet. You know, I used to talk at the beginning of what it takes to go to space because I had never been. Now we talk about what it's like to go to space. And let me tell you, it's pretty exciting.
So can you tell me about that? You flew on Blue Origin's New Shepard, and what was that like? What was being on top of a rocket and going to space like?
Well, you know, it's very difficult to use your imagination and think about that, even though I know kids have a great imagination. But literally, there are no words to describe it because it's so different from the photographs that you see when you're looking back on Earth. But to give you a little insight and a peek about what it's really like, you know, as we're walking up the tower, the helicopters are going, the drones are going. I've got a camera in my face because I was the only female on this particular cruise. And once we were buckled in, and I tell the kids it takes training 3.5 days to learn how to buckle a seatbelt. But even though they're snickering, it's different in space. You can't sit in a chair like you can on Earth because you'll end up on the other side of the capsule. So after we're harnessed in and you're getting that countdown, and all of a sudden you hear this roaring of the engines, and then your seat starts to rumble, and the ceiling turns bright red, which, by the way, they tell us in training, that's just a reflection of the engines. And then slowly you start to lift off, and you see the ground slowly dropping away. And then you start seeing those G-forces. And all of a sudden, the Earth is gone, and the sky turns from blue to light blue to pitch black. It's amazing.
And what was it like when you got into space and there was no gravity, and I saw a video of you guys unbuckling your seatbelts? Can you describe to me what that felt like?
You know, when we were in training on zero gravity, you get 30 seconds of zero gravity, microgravity, no gravity at all. But then when you're in space, you have almost 5 minutes, which seems like a lifetime. And I think we were just so excited to be there. We just hung out by the window to look back at Earth. And when you see how fragile our planet is and how thin that atmosphere, it takes your breath away. There's still triggers that we all get kind of choked up about because it is such a remarkable view of our planet. It changes you. And by that, I mean, it changes you that you want to come back to Earth and make it better. And when we speak to kids, we always tell them, while we're speaking, I want you to think about what is your mission? What can you do to make a difference in the world? And how can you make the world a better place? And I think if every human being on this planet had those thoughts, the world would be definitely different.
I agree with you 100%. Sharon, what is it that makes space so interesting?
I think for kids, what makes space so interesting is that it's new. It's never been discovered, and people are coming up with new discoveries all the time. And one of the things that kids like to do is use their imagination so they can imagine what it's going to be like living off planet. They can imagine what it is to be piloting a spaceship. These are things I think kids are really interested in, and that's what's going to make a difference to get them off planet living in the future. But what SpaceKids wants to do is make learning fun again. We want kids to be participators, not spectators. So how do you do that? Well, we do hands-on projects. You know what? Last year we sent 21 science projects to the ISS. We've had essay competitions with our partners with Zero G, where two of the winners, I think the essay was Why I Want to Go to Space. They got to go on a zero gravity flight and fly like an astronaut, experience zero gravity.
Wow.
We're taking Title I schools over to Kennedy Space Center, the visitor complex. We're working with different companies, and particularly what we're doing right now, the press squad. That's pretty cool, where kids can be space reporters.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that? I was reading about the press squad. It sounds amazing.
Yes, it's pretty exciting. 8 kids plus a parent from the US, they have to be a US student, will have a drawing where these 8 kids will be able to come out and hopefully watch our launch if the launch stays on schedule. But they will have a 2-day all expense paid vacation adventure at Kennedy Space Center, where Blue Origin will welcome them to their rocket facility. They'll be able to interview some of the rocket scientists, the engineers. They'll even have a behind the scenes tour where the new Glenn is being assembled. I mean, it's pretty exciting.
Wow.
And hopefully we'll be able to arrange for a live journalist to come over and teach them how do you interview somebody on camera? Because as you well know, Alex, you've got to get them engaged.
Yes, it's very important. Very important. Those are important skills. So how do kids enter? Are there any requirements for them to enter this competition?
For this particular program, no. We'll be taking 8 kids. And what that means, we're going to be taking 1 child from a first responders family, 1 from the Boys and Girls family, and 1 from the military family. And then the other 5 positions are divided geographically across the state, depending on your zip code.
Okay. And I think kids can go to spacekids.global to enter. Is that correct?
That's correct. Our mission is to get elementary school kids excited about STEAM education, but ensuring the girls are equally represented. Did you know when we flew back in March 2022, I became the 599th person to cross over the Kármán line out of the 8 billion people on this planet, and in 61 years. And more importantly, I was the 74th woman to cross over the Kármán line. We need to get the girls engaged too. Space is for everyone.
Absolutely. And could you tell our listeners and our viewers what is the Kármán line? They may not know.
The Kármán line is the universal line where it's considered that you cross over into space, and that's 62 miles. Our flight actually went 66.29 miles above the Earth. So you could really see a gorgeous view of our planet. But what surprised me the most is space is black. And I'm talking black, black, black. We don't have that kind of darkness, that blackness here on Earth.
What inspired you and your husband, Mark, to go back to space again?
It was because we really wanted to get a second look. On our initial flight, your adrenaline is so high and it's very difficult to stay in the moment because it's so exciting. I mean, you're part of the early exploration in space, and we're so grateful for that opportunity. So this time, being able to bring kids out to really be part of the mission, because they will be at mission control with Blue Origin. They'll be inside the mission control center. They'll have their desks, they'll be watching the big screens, they'll have a live feed to our launch out in Van Horn, Texas, and then they'll be able to interview us after we come back to Earth if the launch stays on schedule. Our whole purpose is that they get to know another career in space. You know, when I say space, it's for everybody. It's true. We're going to need doctors and mechanics and chefs and clothing designers. Everything we have here, we're going to need up there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I think a lot of people think of space and careers. I think of astronauts, but one thing that I noticed on your SpaceKids Global website is that it's not just astronauts. There's a whole industry, for lack of a better word, around space.
You know, there are so many opportunities in the space industry. And somebody said to me recently that 70% of the jobs that are going to be in the future, we have no idea what those are. So how can we prepare the next generation? So I think as more kids get excited and start following space and find their niche, even if it is a space reporter, we're going to need those too. It's going to be exciting. This will be a life-changing opportunity for the kids.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And Sharon, I think that we have a special guest on your end today.
Oh, yes. Everyone knows that Saba the space dog is always with me. And here he is. Saba, say hello.
Saba.
Say hello.
What's that spacesuit? He's got his own spacesuit.
He does. Blue Origin made him a spacesuit to match ours. And it even has the logo on the back. And to date, I have been speaking to over 790,000 kids. Wow. And Saba's been with me for every presentation. He just had a birthday recently, right, Guy?
How old?
He just turned 15, but he's still spry.
Wow, it looks great.
So tell the kids hello. Say hi.
And can you tell me a little bit about the spacesuit? What's it made out of and what's its job?
Well, these are the actual spacesuits that we wear into space. They are fire resistant, which means they're heavy material and you can't burn. There's all kinds of clothing here on Earth, the children's pajamas that are fire resistant, but they're very warm here in the summer. So Saba's is a little different since he didn't have to go to space. His is more of a lightweight material. So I don't think it bothers him as much.
Well, he seems to be enjoying himself.
He does enjoy it. And when we finish our presentation with kids and we turn it over to Q&A, guess what the first question is? Can we see your dog again?
Well, Sharon, Hagle, and Saba, thank you very much for joining us on the Kids Morning News Network. Very much looking forward to seeing the winners of the SpaceKids Press Squad contest as they cover your next flight into space.
Well, thank you, Alex. I'm so excited to share this information with kids. Please don't hesitate to sign up. The countdown has begun, and I would hate for one child to miss out the opportunity if they really want to come to Kennedy Space Center and be part of this mission.